And I'm going to do this without sending out a link because it's running late and I want to take care of this. I got stuff I got to do, but I need to do a comic call. So welcome to a brand new episode of the Comic Call. I just finished recording a new episode of Dylan Knows, and now I'm just going to go ahead and do this real quick. I know I'm not going to get any viewers right now, but that's okay. I'll send them out my link later on to do it. I don't have time to worry about that, but right now let's talk about my comics. The Comic Call is my show where I talk about what comics I bought this week, to try to get you to go out and buy the comics, go to your local comic store, figure them out for yourselves, and check out, just go and get stuff. So this is this week's Comic Call right here. And as always, we start with, actually I move this over here, there, and this over here. So as always, we start with DC. First up is Batwoman Rebirth. Number 1. This is going to lead into the Batwoman series. It's going to come out in probably about 2 weeks. It's written by Marguerite Bennett and James Tynion IV, with art by Steve Epting. They're also going to be the creative team of the, I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anybody. They're going to be the creative team of the regular series. Yep. And I love the fact, I love the character, and I love Epting's artwork. Let's see if I can find, there was a good shot here. So this is definitive Steve Epting artwork. Batwoman is a lesbian and is a very interesting character in her own right, and knows Batman as a member of Batman's family, and should be a very entertaining book, particularly with the creative team we have. I love Marguerite Bennett, love James Tynion IV, love Steve Epting. This is his first work in a while for Marvel and DC. He does his own book for Image, but this is good to see him back. So pick up Batwoman Rebirth number 1. That leads you into the new Batwoman series, which comes out in about 2 weeks, I think. Because Justice League America last week, I did Rebirth. Justice League America last week, the new issue comes out on Wednesday. So speaking of new series, Super Sons number 1. When this was first announced, I made fun of it on my comic show with MJ Con, because we didn't know exactly what it was going to be about. But now that I've read the first month, or the first year, or the first 6 months, I guess, of Superman Rebirth, and even somewhat a Batman Rebirth, I'm really excited for this book because it's written by Peter Tomasi, who is writing the heck out of Superman right now, and it's art by Jorge Jimenez, and the two of them they did a prequel sort of in the Superman comic. They have the two of them team together, and they are perfectly matched for each other. So it's a brand new, world's finest, two young guys, and I think it's hilarious. I think it's great. It should be a very interesting dichotomy between the two of them, and should be a lot of fun. And I can't wait to read it, particularly, as I said, with Peter Tomasi as the writer. So pick up Super Sons. Go ahead. It looks silly. I recommend this totally. Check it out. Peter Tomasi hasn't done anything wrong so far, and it looks really funny, real cute. Speaking of Batman number 17. I Am Bane continues in this series. Tom King is doing a really, really good job with the Batman reboot. I think he's doing better than Scott Snyder did. That could be considered blasphemous if you want to, but I believe that this is actually a really good Batman series. David Finch is the artist on this saga, with inks by Danny Mickey. It's a brutal story. It ended, the cliffhanger of the last issue had Red Hood, I think Damian and Nightwing all being hung by Bane, and so Batman is going to try to hunt them down, and Bane is trying to ruin Batman's life. So we got some pretty interesting things. So it ends on another cliffhanger ending, so we'll see what happens. Speaking of Superman, this is a Superman number 17. This has been an amazing book. I cannot stress how good this book has been, along with Batman and some of the other ones I'm showing now. But this has been my absolute favorite DC Rebirth book, and it continues with this one-shot storyline, which focuses on Superman's son, Jonathan. It's written by Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason. It's art by Sebastian Fumara. And to me, this would have been better if they released it around Halloween. It has a very Stranger Things vibe to it. It's called Dark Harvest. It's a story. It's just a one-shot, and it details John's experience with some weird creatures around the community where he is presently living, and it's got the dark kind of quality to it, and it just seems like a really good, interesting Stranger Things-esque type of vibe to it. So Superman number 17 continues to look like it's going to be a killer hit. Another good book that's going up is Green Lanterns number 17. This one they team up with Batman. It's written by who is it written by Sam Humphries, with pencils by Eduardo Pansica, with inks by Julio Ferreira. Get the Scarecrow in there with the yellow ring, and Batman is involved with it, and Simon Baz and Jessica working together. It's fantastic. This Green Lantern book has been amazing, and enjoyed immensely. And there we go. Trinity number 6, which basically has Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman teaming up to take on stories, ends its first story arc, I believe. It's written and drawn. It's written by Francis Manapul. He usually does some of the artwork, but he needs to take a break here and there. The art was by Emanuela Lupacchino, with Ray McCarthy and Matt Santorelli on inks. But the first story arc had them taking on Poison Ivy at Clark Kent's farm, because Batman and Wonder Woman wanted to come and meet this Superman and see if he could be trusted and befriend him and stuff like that. So we're finding out what's going on with this. So Trinity number 6, I think this is the end of the first story arc, so we'll get another story arc to see what's going on with them. So it should be interesting. This book is getting close to maybe being on my drop list, but I'll keep reading it because it's the Justice League. It's Justice League number 15. It's written by Brian Hitch, with artwork by, who did the artwork this week? Fernando Pasarin and Matt Ryan inks. So it's a Justice League. So basically, it's the MVP Justice League with all the heavy hitters taking on the heavy hitting bad guy stuff. And it's going to be the Justice League you're going to see in the movies and stuff like that. Now, Justice League America, which comes out next week, is a totally different animal, and should be a lot of fun. We'll find that out next week with Steve Orlando comes on board that. But if you're a fan of Justice League, as I said, I read the first couple, I liked them, but I have gotten behind, unlike with Batman, Spider-Man, or Superman, and some of the other ones I haven't gotten Green Lanterns I haven't gotten behind on, whereas this one I sort of said, it's okay, but I haven't really been watching it that much, reading it that much, so we'll see. Another one on my possible list of being cut is Harley Quinn number 14. I keep buying it because I love Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Conner, who are the creative team on it, the writers of it. Got a Frank Cho cover, which is really interesting. Despite what you may think about him, it's still a cute cover. And Carrie Evans and John Timms are the artists on this one. And it's Harley Quinn. I mean, it's the new Harley Quinn. It's not the one that we grew up with Paul Dini and stuff like that. But she's fairly popular now in movies and television right now, and she gets her own book. Actually, has 2 books, but I gotta keep picking up because Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Conner can do no wrong. And so Harley Quinn number 14 is out this week. Another one I'm thinking about dropping again, I still haven't dropped yet, is Nightwing number 15. I think it's continuing the Bloodhaven storyline. This is kind of a one-shot written by Tim Seeley with art by Minkyu Jung, which I kind of like. And it's shows Dick's relationship with his new girlfriend. And how how it progresses from beginning to end type of thing, and what he's dealing with, and what his other friends are thinking about it and stuff like that. So it's a fascinating, and it looks like it could be a really interesting one-shot detailing a relationship that Dick has from beginning to end, and bringing about typical romantic comic fashion. So I'm actually interested about reading this one. This one looks good, and we'll see if the next storyline after that is going to be just as good. We'll check it out. But Minkya Jung's artwork looks really good, and Tim Seeley, as always, a pretty good writer, and you can't go wrong with that. It's just, again, I got to start cutting down, hemming it down. Nightwing is one of those I really haven't read all that much. Getting away now from the DC Rebirth books, DC is rebooting their Wildstorm universe. Wildstorm number 1. It's written by Warren Ellis. That's the main reason why you had to buy it, and art by John Davis Hunt. He is rebooting it to bring them back into prominence, I guess, which is like the Wildcats and Authority and all those type of characters. He's bringing them in there. So in typical Warren Ellis fashion, there's a lot of talking, a lot of mysticism, and a lot of crazy bizarreness. And weird stuff, but it's Warren Ellis, and he can really do no wrong. So Wildstorm #1, if you want to get back into the Wildstorm years, that's probably the best place to pick that up and start reading that again. Going to Young Animal, I just love this cover. It's Mother Panic #3, which is a female Gotham character. That's Mother Panic right now taking on Batwoman, who we just talked about. And, even though it takes place in the Young Animal universe, Batman and Batwoman are in the series. It's written by Jody Houser with art by Tommy Lee Edwards, which I think another reason why this book was a little late, because Tommy Lee Edwards' artwork, he takes his time on it and it looks good. Here's a fight between Batwoman and Mother Panic, which is good because it sets this Young Animal character in a Gotham with Batwoman and Batman, and sets Batman in to the Young Animal universe. So you get some of the bizarre storylines, stuff like that might actually be taking place in the Rebirth Batman saga. So check out Mother Panic. You should be able to find 1 and 2 already, because I'm pretty sure the comic stores probably ordered big on them. You can check them out on the overstock shelves probably. There's still be a couple issues of that. Cave Carson has a Cybernetic Eye #5. I keep buying this because Michael Avon Oeming's artwork is fantastic. Plus, it has Wild Dog in it, who I love, and Cave Carson as well. But it's quite bizarre, and it's written by John Rivera and Gerard Way, with Michael Avon Oeming doing the artwork. So, it's always a very bizarre, interesting saga along the lines of the Doom Patrol and Shade the Changing Girl and stuff like that. Is it one that I might eventually drop? Possibly, but I've already dropped Shade the Changing Girl. Nothing against it. I just haven't been reading it. Doom Patrol, I'm getting really close to maybe dropping also. But Mother Panic still looks good, and Cave Carson I still like because of Michael Avon Oeming. So that's it for DC. Marvel, Spider-Man finishes his saga, The Clone Conspiracy, written by Dan Slott with art by Jim Chung. Which is fantastic. I love his artwork. It ends the whole Clone Conspiracy storyline, the big Spider-Man storyline of the year, which is going to lead into some new Spider-Man stuff before Marvel, again, reboots stuff, which I talked about a little bit on my show. I'll talk about again more on my Dylan Nose show with comics with MJ Khan. So very interesting stuff. Great artwork. Good storyline. Spider-Man continues. Next up, Marvel's their winter crossover is Monsters Unleashed #3. Every issue of the miniseries is done by a different artist. It's still written by Cullen Bunn, who's a great writer. The artwork is by Lionel Francis Yu, who I can give or take on the artwork, but it still makes the monsters look good, and it's just giant monsters taking on the Marvel universe. So, that's really basically about it. And you've got different artists handling the different aspects of it. So I'm just keep buying this. I'll probably continue buying just this saga, even though there are issues of other comics that are doing like one-offs, one-shots that are connected to this. I might buy a couple of them, but I haven't bought all of them. Speaking of which, here's one of those. It's Doctor Strange #1 MU, Monsters Universe. This is the Doctor Strange crossover with this one, Monsters Unleashed. This is their version of Doctor Strange. They haven't done a Spider-Man one yet, so I have to pick that. Well, they did a Deadpool one, Deadpool and Spider-Man. I picked up that one. But there's been an X-Men and Avengers, stuff like that. I think there's a few more, because I think there's about maybe 2 or 3 more issues in this series, and then they'll probably do 2 or 3 of these Monster Users crossovers. But I got this one because it's Doctor Strange, and it's written by Chip Zdarsky, who is, we'll be talking about him again real quick eventually. Julian Lopez doing the artwork. So it's Doctor Strange taking on giant monsters. He might have disappeared in the main series itself, but here we get a chance to see what he's doing. Doctor Strange, the DVD is coming out very soon. You can probably already get, I think it's coming out next week, the 28th of February. You can get it online already right now, but if you want the DVD next Wednesday, I think you'll be able to get, or next Tuesday, you'll be able to get it. And Spider-Man also makes an appearance in this because it's been announced this week that Chip Zdarsky will be writing a new Spider-Man book. So you get to first taste of what Chip Zdarsky's Spider-Man is going to be like in this Doctor Strange Monsters Unleashed crossover #1. As I said, that's it for Marvel. There's a big issue I'm having with Marvel right now. There's too many books, not enough that I'm interested in. I cut back. US Avengers #3 came out, but I cut back on that because I need to start cutting back on books. And Marvel's going to be probably the place I'm going to cut back before I hit any of the DC ones, because they're more expensive than the DC ones. Though the DC ones are going to be upping their prices. As soon as they do that, they're going to get cut too. So these comic haul shows might be a lot shorter down the line, but we'll see how things go. We got Independence now, and then I'm going to be done out of here. Manifest Destiny, #26, still a great series from Image. Alternate history where Lewis and Clark are actually exploring the United States. in the 1800s, and instead of they're discovering all kinds of crazy things. In real life, they discovered animal species and Indian tribes they'd never seen before. In this, they're taking on supernatural events, which is fantastic. It's a great idea. I wish I would have came up with, but I didn't. Chris Dingus came up with it as the writer. Matthew Roberts, penciler, Tony Akins, and Stephen Gualdino as the anchors. Now, Dingus and Roberts have been on this book since the beginning. I think it's one of those books that, like Walking Dead, it'll always be Kirkman and Adlard, and it's very rare you're going to ever get a fill-in. So Manifest Destiny, as I said, I get caught up on it, but if you're a history guy and you want to check out alternate history, this is the best book to do it for that. So Manifest Destiny number 26 starts a new story arc after their Sasquatch story arc. Speaking of great books, and Marguerite Bennett, Animosity number 5 is out this week. Marguerite Bennett, Rafael de la Torre. Basically, the premise is animals have gotten the ability to speak now, and they have taken over the earth, and everything is not hunky-dory. But it's basically like the zombie apocalypse, but instead it's animals in charge, and humans are the lesser species now because there's more animals than there are people. But it's gorgeous artwork, great storyline, and just what else can you think of? You also get a special preview of Sam Keith's new book with John Layman, which I can't wait for, called Eleanor and the Egret. It's been a while since we've had a good Sam Keith book, so it should be interesting to see what this one is. So pick up Animosity number 5. Great storyline on that. Plus you get a backup preview of an upcoming book, which looks really good too. The Deep, number 2. Looked sort of like, The Incredibles family, but underwater. It looks like an interesting family. First book, it's only a 6-issue miniseries, and it's written by Tom Taylor with art by James Brower. One of my friends from Diamond, Philip Sablik, is one of the big wigs at Boom Studios, and he is one of the guys involved with this. So it's The Deep. It's just about, I guess, a family that investigates crazy stuff in the deep and what they have to deal with. So it's family-oriented book, some nice visuals, and should be sort of like The Incredibles, but they weren't superheroes and they were underwater. Kind of looks cute. Brave Chef Brianna coming up from Kaboom Studios, so that might be one to check out. We'll see. Finally, I cannot show you the cover because it is the sex cover, but Sex Criminals, Volume 4, Part 1, which is issue number 16. Sex Criminals issue number 16. The reason why I got this one, which is the XXX cover, is because they ran out of the regular covers. Now, for those who don't know, Sex Criminals is a series about a couple that discovers that when they have sex and they come, as it were, they have the ability to leave their bodies for a limited amount of time and walk around and do stuff. And we learn there's a whole sex police thing going on, and they're using their sex beings to go and do robbing and stuff like that. So I'm going to see if I can. I can't show you the cover because it's very sexually, and a lot of the book is very, very sexy also. But I'll give you Chip Zdarsky is the artist. Matt Fraction is the writer. It gives you a good follow-up to what's going on in case you haven't been following the book, but it's also a very very talky book. Is there sex in it? Yes. Is there nudity in it? Yes. But it's also a relationship book, and they've divided up, apparently, as I said, into 4 different volumes. So, and we get to see these characters are really interesting. So, it's for grown-ups, definitely. And I can't show you the cover, so let's put this back on. So there are covers that are not sexually explicit, but as I said, this is the only one that they had left at my comic store, which is funny because I went on Wednesday to buy it, and all the other covers were gone. So apparently they didn't order enough of the other covers, so maybe they should do that. All right, on that note, that's the end of that. Sex Criminals, I think the trades, you can probably pick them up. As I said, it is definitely not for children. I would pick them. But it is a interesting book. As I said, there is sex and nudity in it, but it's not like the main emphasis of the book. So enjoy that and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Go to your comic book store. I know it's late today, but go to your comic book store, maybe pick up any of those books, check and see what else. There was a whole bunch of other books that came out that I didn't buy. There were a few issues of books that I couldn't afford this week, so I haven't bought them yet. I'm going to probably go back maybe this week and pick them up when I get my comics for this week. But go to your local comic store. They have all kinds of special deals this week. My comic store's got 50% off of trade paperbacks and I think baseball cards and glasses and stuff like that. Last week they had toys at 70% off or 50% off. It was 70% off, I think. So they have that. And then next week they'll have something else. On that note, I'm going to be done. I've been on the air now for almost 3 hours, so I'm going to take off. Have fun, enjoy, buy comics.